burning heart. I got to run, run, run. I'm down, down, down. 땀이 내 전부를 태워 fire. You kissing me when I punch your face.